So the right amount of muscle to a point where they can tell that you lift, but you haven't overdone it. To a point where they can tell that you can fight, but you won't go out of breath the minute it starts, like some of these bodybuilders, is proof that you're a G. It's proof that you're a king. It shows that not only do you have discipline, but also you have the intellect to not push it too far or too less. You've got the right amount of muscle. You know what I'm trying to say? It's not the bulky guys that you're supposed to be scared of because they'll go out of breath in a fight. It's the lean, bulked guys that look like they can fight and also chase you down a road. Because these bulky guys, trust me, they're not chasing you down the road because they can't run down the road without gassing out. The right amount of muscle is not only proves that you're a king and other guys respect you, but it's also more attractive to the women. They don't want the big fat bodybuilders. They don't want the guys on steroids who are 95, 100 kilos. They want the guys who are like 75, 80, strong as hell, above 100 kg bench. They want those kind of guys. Okay. Make sure your split is designed in such a way that you're not pushing too much and gaining too much muscle to a point where you're not flexible, you cannot train a sport, your heart health isn't good, you cannot run a 5k, you cannot run a 10k. Make sure that you get that whole balance. You know what I'm trying to say? So make sure that when you're training, you're pushing it, you're pushing your body past its limits, but you're not, that's not the whole part of your life. That's just one single part that makes you, okay? The biggest benefit to having the right amount of muscle, not too much, not too less, the right amount of muscle is that and also leanness is that when you walk into a room, it doesn't scream, it doesn't like push it onto the face that, oh, this is just one big fat bodybuilder, that's all he thinks about. But it's saying that he doesn't need to tell that he works out, but people already know that there is this, he has the discipline, he has the willpower. Okay, so no matter what, even in a Zoom meeting, when you have the body, the right amount of muscle, the shoulders, the traps, those speak for themselves. When you sit down in a Zoom meeting and you're making all these ridiculous guarantees that other people have made too, somehow internally you are more believable. Some part of their mind says, okay, he has proved himself in the past just by the body alone. I'm sure the work ethic is not the problem. The only thing is that, okay, the possibility of it happening with market circumstances and all that shit is the problem. So you're way ahead of competition because that competition also faces the same circumstances. If you're a beginning player in any kind of a market, the biggest thing that you can do is to get in good shape and build the right amount of muscle to a point where they can tell that you lift weights, to a point where they can look at you and be like, okay, this guy is pretty, he knows his shit. Like when you're speaking, that's not the only thing. It's also when you walk on stage, for example, and giving a big speech. Tell me which version of you would feel more confident. The underweight, skinny fat, the guy who's never seen the gym, or the guy who's pushed himself even when he didn't want to. That, okay? Now, that's not to say you just lift and ignore everything else. That's why I keep saying the right amount of muscle. You need to balance the lifting with the running, with the martial arts and all this thing. That's the only way to be well-rounded. The lucky part, and I've said this before in a different video, is that you don't need to keep lifting. All you can do is get that 3-4 workouts in where you're training very intensely, use the next days to recover. You can take up a sport. Those are easier to recover than intense physical training, but you're not lifting weights on those days. So it's really easy to balance working out with running or whatever sports you do. Okay, Remember, guys, it's not about having a lot of muscle. It's about having the right amount of muscle and right amount of leanness. Okay, they should be able to tell that, okay, he works hard and he's smart. You understand? Those are the type of guys that have a edge over the guys who build a lot of muscle, and that pretty much becomes their personality. So remember that message for the day.